Hello everyone, and welcome. I'm VelvettB, and thanks for joining me today for another how-to in our little how-to series where we are building a Spanish revival home step by step. Today we are going to be looking at exterior trims, so that's things like your chimneys, your spandrels, corbels, items like that we get offered in the game that adds a little bit of decoration to the outside of our build. So far in this series we have worked on roofing, we've worked on landscaping, creating a floor plan and creating a shell. So we're just going to decorate our little house on the exterior, just add to our landscaping kind of vibe a little bit. So one of the first areas that I like to go to is the roof sculptures area. So in this area we have dormers, we have holes in our roof. If we have the life and death pack, we've got chimneys, we've got solar panels, we've got support beams, we've got little roof end decorations, air vents, roof caps. We've got all sorts of things. We've even got some billboards. We do have these little shaped parapets as well that do sit on the end of your builds. So, there are lots of options for what you can decorate your roof with. We're just going to start with the base game ones. So in the base game, we have got a few options that do work with the Spanish Revival home. So we have the Feathered Friends turret, which is just like a cute little turret for birds that you can put on your home. And again, you just need to select it and pop it on your roof, just where you think it's going to look good. I think that's actually quite cute there. So I'm kind of happy with that. Not too bad, and it matches our little roof perfectly. So that's a little bonus, matches our wallpaper too. So yay! In terms of the matching things here, so we have a few different options. We've got like our little roof vent, which is probably more for a commercial or a larger home, which I don't think would suit our home. Also better on a flat roof. And too hot to not roof vent. I actually like to use this when I make custom chimneys. So by a custom chimney, I mean that we have something like this, and say I'm going to create something 3 wide. The reason I'm creating it 3 wide is just because it's even, and I'm a lunatic about doing even things. So 2 levels high, and then we go to half walls, select place half wall enclosure, and I probably wanted something like about a 6 high. So it's just sitting maybe the next one up. Yeah, so it's sitting around about the same height as the roof or thereabouts, not far off. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop inside. So top-down view that I just went into, you use T. And I'm going to use these arrows to raise the platform to the top so it covers the roof. And then go back into roof sculptures, and then I just like to sometimes just go boom, boom, boom. And we've got like a nice little custom chimney there off to the side. Pretty easy to make. And you can just decorate that with a stone of your choice running up the side there. A little bit of a roof trim, a wall trim. I usually actually also paint the the top there. I mean, you can't really see it, but I like to. It's just one of my little things. So that's like a custom chimney off to the side that you can create using half walls and full walls and just a little vent thing. You can do the same thing again using any other chimney as well. So say we're using the Mega Chimney Deluxe here, which does match our building. I mean, that's just a little too high, so maybe we want to use a half wall here, probably quite a tall one. And let's put our chimney inside it. Okay, so we've got our chimney inside it. I've just gone down a level to get that in there. So what we're going to do now is I'm just going to raise it up and just see how high that's going to take our chimney. So lifting it up, and you know what, that's not too bad at all. So we can create like a little chimney like so. What I would probably do is actually just double up on that, and holding Alt and Shift, just copying that over and doing a double there. Might even just like take that down a smidge. And again, you can just paint it and decorate the top. So, you could paint it the same as what you've done on the outside of the walls, or just like a plain matching color that does come with base game. Stucco and you, by the way. If you want to match, it's stucco and you. And that matches the exterior of that chimney. Another thing with chimneys, and this is probably the simplest thing to do, rather than just creating your own, is just pop it on the roof. So find a nice little crevice, nice little spot on your roof where it's not going to look ridiculously high, and pop it in there. I like to choose like a little corner area where I can. If you're feeling it is too high, you can actually shrink these down as well. These are non-functional items. They're purely decorative. So just use your left bracket key and shrink down by 1, and you can shrink that as well. So again, if it's too large, you're feeling like it's too large visually, you can shrink that down and put that into a nice little crevice on your roof. It can go diagonal if you want. It looks a little odd, but you know, depends on your house. If you find that you've placed the chimney and it is kind of floating about afterwards, just reselect it from your build by menu. Sometimes it will float around after you've sort of placed it and then try to replace it, because I don't know why. It just does it. You can sort of see it here. It's kind of floating around rather than actually going into the roof. So the only fix I've found for that is just to simply reselect it from the build by menu and add it again. So I'm just going to shrink this down 1, and we're just going to have like a cute little chimney up the top there. So the next thing that you might want to think about for a Spanish Revival home is the little parapets, because those are super cute. They do work really nicely on a flat roof, so maybe that's something that you want to think about. And you just simply need to pop it on. That's it. That's all there is to it. There wasn't anything complicated about adding that, but you can kind of see it's starting to add a little bit more of a flavor and a vibe to the house, having that decoration there. So other things that you can add, so from Life and Death, and actually a few different packs. So we have from Get Together, we have Saladin's Chain. Not going to suit this, but there's going to be like the little roof trims that run along here, and just add like these little spiky attachments to the roof. So Get Together has it. You can do a version of that with Cottage Living beam. These little points here are good for sticking on the end when you have something like this and that, and you sort of match it along. I mean, that's great for like a Victorian sort of style home or a Gothic style home for sure. There's something like this. You got your weather vane. Again, cute for the ends, or you can even sit that on like a little point at the top. Roof caps. So the roof caps that you get with Cottage Living, they are great for cottages. They're going to look really weird on our house because we're doing a Spanish Revival home, but there is 2 parts that you have with these little roof caps, and they work together. So this is the bowl cut roof toupee, and then that works with the mullet roof toupee. So you have like the curved end there, and then you have like the either side is flat on this one here. So those just add straight on top. So there's like quite a few different options for running along the top of the building. This is like a roof bling sculpture for along again the top of the roof. So I'm just holding down shift, and that places those super quickly along the roof, rather than having to go click, place, click, place, click, place. Just hold down shift. Then we have things like this from For Rent, which just adds like a little bit of detail on the front of like a gable roof. Super cute. Signage, you'll see a little bit of that in there. Things like satellite dishes. If you want to have like a little satellite dish on there, you can do that too, and that's from Strangerville. Maybe we want to have a little bit of that. Now, this is probably my favorite of the roof trims at the moment. Is from the Life and Death pack. It's the Victorian roof trim, and that just sits along there. It doesn't really suit this style of build, but it does look gorgeous on builds. You sort of see how that works there. So heaps of options from different packs for roof for trims that you can add along the top of your roofs. That one's from Island Living. And then you've got things like your solar panels as well, which come with the Eco Lifestyle pack. If you want to be a little bit more green friendly. Maybe we do. And also the wind turbine, which is a little bit more clunky, but depends on your style of build as to whether or not it'll suit it. And then there are some billboards for, your city vibe. Again, won't suit our house, but there's the options there, So then we're moving on to our next section, which is the wall sculptures. So in the wall sculptures, we have a few items that we can use to decorate our house. So in here we have our corbels. So corbels are basically little corners that indicate that they support a structure. So you can use this for walls, for underneath walls. So if you had like a balcony, let's just show you. Now, if we had like a little balcony and it was sticking out here, you could use a corbel. So this is a base game decorative corbel, but there are a lot of different corbels from different packs. And then that can just sit underneath there, and you can sort of see how that adds like a little bit of decoration, and you can support a little balcony out there, and that would be super cute, right? Another way that you can use a corbel is, I'm just going to pull this out. I'm just going to hold Alt to places because it's not quite sitting right. But yeah, you can put it under there and it looks like it's supporting the roof. Again, just like a little decorative thing. Maybe you want to have the roof sticking in a little smidge, and then that sticks out a little bit as well. So just purely decorative, but there is some fun things that you can do with that corbel too. If you wanted to create your own like hanging plant effect from debug, for example. In the base game debug, for example, there's the hanging flower plant, and you can hang that from different things, you know, bits and pieces like that. But you could also create your own hanging plant using the corbel. I'd probably shrink it a little bit actually. Let's shrink it down, lift it up until it's in place, and you can kind of create your own little hanging plant using a corbel. So just an idea there, but another thing that you can do with it. We also have a little wall vents, so again really good for commercial buildings or a little touch of realism there. Now we do have a little made in the shade tile awnings, so if you do want to add like a little awning to your building, you can. And again, it's kind of got that corbel effect running off those awnings, but you can have something like that running under your roof or over a window, something cute like that, and it just adds like a little bit of decorative shelter to the outside of your building, you know, really cute. And then you have the things like your little boxes, which create like a different effect on the outside of your windows. So if you wanted to create like a little box effect around your window, something like that, it is a cute little faux balcony. This is non-functional, by the way, so you're not going to be having your Sims out on there, but it is, you know, a cute little extra decoration around the house if you want to add that to the outside of your house. The other thing that you have here is this little awning again. So you've got like four kinds of base game awning. 1, 2, 3, 4, all different vibes, and you can get creative and use these for all sorts of different things, but you know, the idea is that you use those over perhaps doorways or windows, just to create a decorative effect. The other thing that you have in base game is these window boxes, so those just go directly on top of your windows there. I like to sort of sit them right on the bottom of the window. I'm just holding down shift to place those, and it just adds a pretty decorative effect to the outside, adds a little bit more of a point of interest, and it adds just pretty flowers to your build. So, you know, that's cool. I like a pretty flower in my build, and you can sort of see it starting to come together. We've got our satellite, our chimney, our little turret, we've got some flowers, we've got our parapet up there. It's all starting to come together. So those are sort of the main things from wall sculptures that you get in base game, but there is quite a lot in here when you start adding in little packs. There's things like your flowers, some more flower options. This mega wall hunk you can actually use for a variety of things. It's actually quite good for using as a doorknob on gates and that sort of thing. You just need to shrink that down using your left bracket key. Things like shutters, you've got like your creepy ivy place up the side of the building. Hold down Alt to free place it on the wall. So you've got things like wall braces, you've got glyphs that can go on the outside of walls. I mean, that's from the Jungle Adventure pack. Lots of plants, your little awnings. Heaps of different options throughout the packs of different sort of vibes, and there is like some little fountains as well. We're going to sort of mainly stick to base game for most of this. So then we are going to move on to columns and spandrels. So I want to show you guys little column and spandrel action. Right, so we're going to change a little thing on our landscaping because I want to show you guys this columns and spandrel action. I'm just going to move this tree out of the way. We're just going to move it down here because out of the way. for now. You can use a flat square or you can use a square platform. I just use the platform because it's smaller in this instance and it's just going to be easier to work with. So what I've done with that is that I've just created a room. And when you've created a room, it allows you to add spandrels to it. So you don't actually technically need columns when you're going to use spandrels. Just by the way, you just need to have a room established. So you can put spandrels basically anywhere. It'll sit in any room. So this yellow line here, this shows the outline of the room, and that's actually where the spandrels will go. Now, what is a spandrel? Good question. A spandrel is this decorative item here that will run along like porches. It'll run through room divides as well. So you can use it to create your own sort of doorway on the interior or the exterior of a build. So let's have a wee look. So this is a base game budget spandrel. And you can see here what it does when I click on it. It automatically creates that spandrel along the front side of that room that we've just created. So as I said, you don't actually technically need a column to create a spandrel area. It just looks a little bit weird like it's floating in the air. So this is why we use columns with spandrels. So to not have the spandrel go along the whole front of the room, what you need to do is hold down Alt. If you hold down Alt, you can just place spandrels however you like. You don't have to have them running the whole front of the room. So push nothing and it'll run across the whole front of the room. Just push Alt and it'll actually create just a select area for the spandrel. But if we're going to create this whole room here, there we go. And all I'm doing is just simply clicking on this space and it's just adding the spandrel there. From there, obviously we just can't have floating things in the air. So we've got to attach that to the ground somehow, and we're going to do that with a column. So let's just use our basic round column that comes with base game. And again, we're just going to set that there. To change the color of the column, if you just change the color of the column like this and then pop it on top, what's happening is that you're actually stacking columns. So that column that was there before will still be underneath. So if you do need to change the color of the column, use your design tool or R and change it that way rather than stacking on top. So let's add our column there, and we can add another column there and another column there. So that's basically how you deal with a spandrel on the outside. So say we want to have, I'm going to actually put something properly down. So we're going to use the mega column out here, and we're going to use our lovely mosaic stone here. Beautiful. So we've still got our room in play, so we just need to add our spandrel. So I'm actually just going to use this one from Life and Death right here. Boom, boom, boom. And what we're going to do is we're going to tilt our roof down and extend it. And look at that, we've got a lovely little covered porch. So that means we can just put our stuff back and boom, we have a beautiful little covered porch. Actually, you know what we're going to do? We're going to just move that roof in like that. The reason for that is just like it was quite uneven on both sides. And there we go, we have a cute little covered porch area. Another thing that I like to use with spandrels and columns is actually on the interior. So say rather than having a doorway here, we actually add in spandrels and columns. So again, let's just go to our mega budget column. So we're going to put our columns in play there. And then we're going to add in our spandrel. Boom, just like that, we have a doorway. Just going to rotate that column back around. Not the best match, but you know, it's fairly close. Now, unlike the columns, the spandrels actually won't change color. So if you want to change the color of the spandrel, you're going to have to just select it again and rechange the color that way. It's actually quite funny. Like the columns are basically the opposite of the spandrels as far as changing the color goes. I'm not enjoying the color of those matching and not matching, so I think maybe we'll just go for simple like this one from Horse Ranch column, and then we can go the matching spandrels. The base game spandrels aren't that great, but anyway. So if we're going for a wooden effect, you can sort of see the spandrel work there. You can actually do a number of multiple rooms as well. So you know, you can kind of do something like that if you really want to open up the place as well, and just have like a real open flow and some beautiful column and spandrel work on the interior. Another thing that I do like to do with the columns is also use them on the exterior just to shape the build. So if you've got a nice flat column, that's the best one to go for. There isn't too much in the way of base game, unfortunately. The round one is probably the best, or the solid column, just depending on the style of build that you've got. But I'll show you an example of what I mean. So we've got the solid column right here, and I'm just going to add that to the exterior of the build. And you can sort of see it adds like a little bit of shape to the outside of the build. If you are having trouble adding them to the second level of your build, because sometimes it can be a little bit tricky on the second level, like right here, I know that I'm placing the column here, but I can't see it. What you want to do is just place the column, and then don't do anything else until you like rotate it, and it'll actually rotate around so that you can see it on the exterior. It plants itself on the interior first, and then you can add the column from there. Obviously a bit odd to have two different cuts to columns, so I'm just replacing the ones that we had there, and we'll just replace the spandrels as well. There we are. We've found our matching base game one. Yay! The spandrel with decorative end caps. Okay, so we've added like some columns to the outside of the build, and you can sort of see it feels like a little bit more defined on the outside. It is just a cute way of adding definition to the exterior of your build. So just another idea for something that you can do to add to the decoration of your home. One thing we haven't added or talked about so much, so we talked about roof trim when we looked at roofing, but we didn't talk about exterior trims and freezes. So with exterior trims and freezes, you actually need, with the freezes, sorry, let's start with those. You actually need to have a taller wall height. So let's add our taller wall height. Now to change the height of the wall of your building, you just need to select any room in the house, and it'll actually change the whole floor. Not the whole building, just the whole floor, the height. So you have short wall, medium wall, tall wall. So if we change that to a tall wall, that is our bottom floor, and it's lifted it up. We will put it back, don't worry. And again, if you want to change the top floor as well, select any room on the top floor, and it will change the whole top floor. So it is much higher, as you can see there. We would need to redo the windows if we wanted to keep the walls at that height, because the windows, they don't look right. So just be aware, if you are changing the wall height, you will need to change things around just to make it look like it does suit the size that you've done. So now that we've got a medium wall, we can actually add some freeze frames. So the modern freeze, that will take a tall wall, and that becomes accessible there. So by doing the tall wall, we will now have the other freezes accessible to us. So these are really thick, really big, really good for classic homes. It's not really going to suit our lovely Spanish revival style home so much, but this would look amazing on a classic home. I mean, look how thick and gorgeous that is, and it would just, you know, really support the roof. Now again, to place a smaller amount of freeze, just hold down shift, and it'll only do the one wall opposed to the whole room. So what these actually do is they attach themselves to the room. So when we talked about doing the floor plan, I talked a little bit about how this affects our exterior trims and the reason why we do the floor plan before we do the freezes on the outside. It's because you can see here it just simply attaches itself to the room as it has been created. So if you've created the rooms as you want them around there, then going to just automatically attach those to those. But if your room is not the way that you, so say we open this all up, what's going to happen is it's actually going to go right around the whole building. But when you build those rooms again, it may change them. I'm not sure if it actually will in this instance, but it does sometimes affect the way that that sits. So that's not too bad, but just be aware it will sometimes affect your freezers and muck them up when you are creating rooms on the inside, particularly if you're doing platform work on the interior. So just be aware of that. And then you have the exterior trims. Now the exterior trims are, I'm just going to put the walls back, don't mind me, are a little bit different, and they don't actually require any particular height to your house, but what they do require is rooms. So if I wanted to add some exterior trim to the house, all I need to do is basically hold it over, and again it works a lot like the freezers. If you hold shift, it'll just do the one wall, but it will only attach itself, much like spandrels, to rooms. If I was wanting to add, for example, let's just move this roof out of the way for a second. So what you're thinking is there's actually a room underneath this, and there is, you're right about that. But the thing, or the difference is with that, is that these exterior trims actually attach themselves to the room above. So the reason that the trim actually works here, I'll use the big trim so we can see it, is that there is a room above this room. So this room here does not count as the room. It's actually the room above it that it attaches itself to. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to create a room in this space. So use your flat square, and we're just going to manipulate it so it's covering the space that we want. So what we're actually doing, just like with the spandrels, is that we're creating a room. But instead of attaching to this area here, what we're going to attach to is this area down here. So now that we've created this room on the next level above, we're just going to go back to exterior trim. So just like that, we can now add our trim. And you can have the trim under the roof. Now just obviously be aware that it's probably not going to be all that visible and it may clash with your roof, but that is how you add exterior trim. Now we'll just put that roof back in, but maybe we want to add like a little bit of trim up here and maybe up here as well. So what we're going to do is, rather than just move the roof around, what we're going to do is we're going to change our walls up view. So if you just change to this view here, it's going to allow us to see the top floor. So from there, we're actually going to create our room. So we're just going to drag our flat square, and I'm just going to add to it. If you get any corners or anything, just add to it like I'm doing right now, and then that will allow you to just add to the room just like that. It's going to move stuff around, but don't worry about that. We can fix it. So what we've done now is we've created that third floor, and that's going to allow us to create trim around our roof. So if you go back into your trims and say we want to have like this nice little plain trim here, now you can see we can actually add a trim, whereas before we couldn't. Maybe we want like a nice big trim like that all the way around. So what's happening here, you can see it's actually just using the whole room just to go around the trim. So there we go around, and look at that, we've got a whole trim going all the way around the house just like that. Just be aware of how it connects with your roof. And just like before, if you do want to just add a trim to a particular section, just hold down shift. So rather than going right around the building, if you feel like that's not going to be appropriate, it's going to go to a whole wall. If you want to just do one section, unfortunately it won't do that. You'll have to sort of rework how you do your rooms, but you can do one wall only just by holding down shift. You can do that. And again, if we want to have trim running in through here, what's happening is we don't have a roof set up. We don't have a room set up here, so we're going to have to set up another room. And it might be that I only want the trim there, you know, just so it's matching up to our column. So let's just try that again and add our trim. And just like that, we've got our trim. Okay, so I've added my room here, and I'm just going to add my trim, hold down shift just to add to the whole single wall, because I don't really need it around the front. You can't see it because of the way that the roof's done. And then we want to do the same here. Rather than move the roof around, all you just need to do is click down a level, and then you can sort of see the area which you need to add as a room. Just like that. Zippity zappity zoo. And then we go back to our trim, select the color you want, hold down shift just to go along the one wall. And then we've got our exterior trim on the outside, just in certain sections. But you know, you can sort of see how that decoration just adds a little bit more life to the exterior of the build. The other thing that we want to add is lighting. So exterior lighting. So if you go into the lighting section and you go to outdoor lights, you're going to have a whole lot of options there. I'll just get rid of live ever. Hang on. So adding in lighting, just change the time of day. You can push L or just rotate through. And I mean, you look at this place, and the Sims are not going to have that good a time of it at night, right? Although those kind of plants glow a little bit, don't they? So just choose your exterior light, whatever one you like, and basically just start dotting them around. Just light up the place a little bit. So it doesn't have to just be ground lights. I'm going to use a few ground lights, and then we're going to add some wall lights as well. So don't just think of the daytime view, think about the nighttime view as well, because that, your Sims don't just wander around at daytime, I would think. I mean, I don't know, it depends on your gameplay, I guess, but I imagine for most Sims that nighttime is a valid time time of day for them to be wandering about. Now I'm just going to add lighting to the sections of the build where I feel like it needs like a little bit of lighting up. I don't think, you know, the areas where they're not going to be walking around, there's any point adding the lighting because it just kind of adds, I believe, to your electricity bill. I imagine it would. I just imagine it would. I don't know if there's any fact to that, but it's all based on the value of your house, really, isn't it? Okay, so we've done our outdoor lighting, so now we're going to go into wall lighting. So there is some wall lighting and outdoor lighting as well, but I like to go to wall lighting just because there's more options. So we're just going to go with, we're going very base game today, so I'm just going to go with a base game light. I feel like the mission style kind of suits our vibe, so I'm going to go with a mission style light. I like to pop a lot, you know, a couple around the door and some around any outdoor sort of seating areas because, you know, as I said, Sims still do wander around at night times. Oh, you can add lighting to fencing as well, by the way. So all you need to do is lift the light up. So Control 9 or 9. Sometimes I need to do Control 9, not just 9, and I don't know why. And there we go. So, I mean, that's much nicer being able to see in the night time, isn't it? You know, lighting the place up so it looks pretty at night. There we go. And we've got pool lights in there, so we've got those in that level. Just going to move those down a bit so you get more wall shine. You sort of see how these lights, particular lights, actually look up, if that makes sense. We get more glow doing that. I'm just correcting my own work, don't worry about me. Okay, so we were doing wall lights around the place. So we're using the Beauty in a Box mission lighting. So again, we'll probably put one up above this, by this door, because we've got like a little sneaky doorway in here, there, up on either side of here, and then on the interior section here, which is a little harder to see. So we'll just go into top-down mode. So we've got our double entrance there. Okay, so we have lit up at night. So this is our house coming together. I think it's looking a lot better, a lot cuter. We've got a little Spanish revival thing going on. And I think next time around we'll do a little bit of decorating. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have picked up a few little tips along the way about how to use exterior trim. And thank you for watching. Bye-bye.